I'm here with the wonderful Piers Jackson. Hello, Piers. It's been a hot minute since we've been on a sofa chatting like this.
It's been a while, actually. Probably a bit too long.
Yeah, too long. So for people that don't know who you are you? What do you do?
I'm Piers, and I'm the game director on Elite Dangerous.
Nice. Well, look, it's been a busy year for Elite Dangerous this year. We are going to talk about system colonisation.
Yes,
but before we get there, how's the year been for yourself and the team, I guess?
It's been fantastic and terrifying in equal amounts. It's been very, very busy. We set out with some pretty big objectives for the year, actually. Let's start on the fact we were going to start new ships.
Yep.
We've had 3 new ships.
Yeah.
We've got 4,
yes.
1 in development. We're flying around in that at the minute. It's a fantastic ship, so we're looking forward to releasing that. But that's pretty big news.
Yeah.
Things weren't going very well for humanity at the start of the year. No, things were pretty bad. It was looking bleak. But
I think Plato said it best. He said we were getting a kick in at the start.
Yes, quite a royal kicking with 8 feet at a time.
Yeah.
So that was going pretty badly for humanity, but that got kind of turned around as the year went on, and we were getting towards, dare I say, the end, or something nearing the end.
Nearing the end?
Yeah, maybe that final Titan. What's it going to do?
I don't know. Everyone's very confident. They've been just sort of laying into the... Like, there was a moment when the first Titan went down, which was a great moment to watch.
Yep.
And you could tell that, like our players, and we love them to pieces, but there's a confidence that grew with them, and then the second Titan went, and the third, and the fourth. A lot of confidence in our players about the Thargoids, and just giving them the good news, but only 1 Titan left.
There's only 1 Titan left. What could it do? Could it just be going to run away?
I mean, I would. If I was, I'd be off. I'd be on me how many toes they've got. I'd be off. I want all of them to scamper away.
And it's always interesting to know whether how the Titans and the Thargoids in general are thinking. We're applying a lot of
human logic to them.
Human logic over what their goals of the war have been, and how well it's been going for them.
Well, I'm sure. Look. Humanity, I say we, I mean, I've kept myself out of the fight thus far, I've kept myself out of the fight, but I think we'll find out soon enough, because, we are taking the war to the final Titan. It's pretty worthwhile, just keep an eye on that, I would say, for players, just to keep a close eye on what's going on. The war has progressed. It's been a long one as well, like I want to say 2 years nearly.
We've been going at this for about 2 years now, and obviously the plan dates back probably the best part of a year before that. So from us, it's a big undertaking. It's a full procedural war. We've let the players play this through. We've had key events in there, but this has been very much a player-led initiative, and that's been a big mantra for the year in total, actually. With some of the other features we've been looking at, bringing power play online.
Yes.
Again, kind of putting the emphasis on the players' hands for the narrative to be something that players are generating, and the actions and activities they're doing. I use the phrase leaving kind of scars on the galaxy.
It's a really cool phrase, though, but it makes sense.
So the narrative elements of, the husks of Titans still being left behind, the end of the Salvation finale, that's still there. And now we've got players who are actively changing the shape and nature of the galaxy with power play. Yeah,
and I think that's super important. I think we've discussed this a lot, sort of behind closed doors, about how, we love telling stories, and we do love telling stories, but the most effective stories are ones that players create their own, when they create their own narrative, and they push stories and player-driven stuff, and creating the tools for them to be able to do that on a galactic level is no small task. And I think power play is the first step, and we're seeing it's a huge mechanic. At first glance, it's power play 2.0, but it's a galaxy-wide mechanic, right? So how's it been going for the team seeing it in play now? Because it's great testing it, but when you put it out into an actual galaxy, things change, right?
No, it's been great. It's been a big undertaking. The goal with power play really was to take a system that wasn't being used very much, and bring it back into the core game loops, so that everything that players are currently doing in the game would feed into power play. So if you want to be a trader, you can do power play as a trader. If you want to do combat, etc., etc. That's a lot of intertwined systems. There's an awful lot of code and server networking stuff to unpick in there. So, that went live just over 2 weeks ago now.
I think so.
Our player base has always did a fantastic job of finding the odd exploit here and there. So we had our usual whack-a-mole scenario of trying to get the game back into a point where it's balanced for everyone, so that we didn't have, this is a golden path, you must undertake that route to do it, otherwise you're wasting your time. So we've got that into a reasonable position now, and that's why we also took the opportunity, after watching 2 weeks worth of data, to do the rebalancing on the merit awards, just to give people an accelerant. it's always really, really difficult when you're putting the designs of these things together to understand just how much effort certain things take, and the time loops and the time loops in Elite are long.
Yeah.
So it's always a case of we have to go in usually a little bit high and then balance down. So hopefully we're in a better place on that now.
And I think that's one of the things, and we'll talk more about this as well going forward, because it's sort of an edict that sort of flows through everything that we're doing sort of this year and then into next. But yeah, I think we saw it with the engineering rebalance, right? So we do actually value players' time. It's very important to us that they spend time playing the game.
Yeah.
So that's something that's super important to us. And again, with power play, we don't want it to become excessive, but we do want it to be a challenge. We do want it to be worthwhile. We want it to give perhaps guidance to maybe new players, like who come in and they want something to, like, a bit more structured to how they play the game. I think one of the things I've always suggested is, if you're new to Elite, maybe pledge to a power straight away, do those initial missions, because then it gives you something to do. Other players will just go out into the galaxy and just become mavericks, do whatever they want to do. But I've found a bit of structure with power play is better, but finding that balance between time and effort is super important to us.
Yes, and do those initial missions.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are not going to be on the power play ladder.
We actually watching the stats. We're seeing people doing so much stuff in power play, but you haven't done the initial mission, so you're not going to rank up.
You need to consolidate your pledge. Just on the player time issue, that has been a pillar for us this year.
Yes.
We've been really mindful of some of the more grindy elements of Elite. So as you mentioned, we went back and had a good dig through everything on engineering, both space and on foot from Odyssey. I think that's in a better place now.
Yep.
We certainly seem to be quite happy with it. The SCO was obviously another major play that we brought in very early on. We wanted to bring that in through the narrative of Thargoid technology, but to allow players just to get out of those gravity wells, make the journey time just that bit shorter, so that you can get to the activities you want to do. But also, we don't want to compress the galaxy to a point where travel in Elite is irrelevant. It's still a big.
It still has to be a
challenge,
right?
So it's a very fine balance. But being mindful of time has been something we've all been looking at this year.
Yeah, and in the benefit of being mindful of time, let's move on to system colonisation. Are you even waiting for this? So system colonisation is another galaxy-wide, I guess, mechanic, because players can engage in this and really shape the galaxy. What was the thought process behind system colonisation? Like, what's the idea behind this in general?
So this of all the things in Elite, from a personal point of view, this is the thing I've wanted to do most of all. So really, this is the expansion of the bubble. So we've now allowed the bubble to be much more dynamic in terms of what's happening with power play, but this is about growing the bubble, whether that be just making it bigger or shooting off, building little roads out into the distance so you can colonise new areas. It's allowing our players to create Colonia 2, or frankly do whatever they want with it. It's giving the keys to the galaxy back to people and allowing them to develop their own narrative. Again,
it's back to that whole idea about this is now, and this is a huge moment, like, make no mistake, this is a huge undertaking. So when we talk about system colonisation, this is literally saying, here is the mechanics of the galaxy. It's yours now to shape however you want to shape it, and do what you're going to do with it. But it's go out and expand the bubble, expand the chosen power if you want to do that as well, or just build bridges out into the deepest parts of the galaxy.
It's going to be a really interesting social experiment.
Yes,
and we don't know what the outcome of it will be.
No, so. like I say, I've said this forever. I've been here now for 4 years, and I played Elite prior to that. I've always marvelled at it. We create tools expecting players to do one thing, and they do the exact opposite to what we plan to do. So this will be no different. So let's get to the juicy stuff. So talk me through, if you will, the flow, and we will have some footage that will come over this. So we'll show you some stuff of system colonisation. How does a player go about colonising a system?
So the opening part of system colonisation always begins with a claim.
Right.
And you will make a claim from a new contact, system colonisation contact.
Very Ronsil, does what it says in the tin.
Absolutely, easy to find. And you will find those in inhabited systems in the bubble. We're going to start with the bubble, and we'll see how things go from there. So you will be able to purchase the claim for credits and pick an uninhabited system within a distance. Currently we're looking at about 10 light years, but within a distance. And if no one else is making a claim on that, you can put a claim down for it. That will load you up with a colonisation navigation beacon, and you will have 24 hours to travel to the claim system and deploy that colonisation beacon. that will begin your claim. If you don't do it within 24
Yep.
hours, then it reverts, and we need to do that to stop people
I was gonna say,
blocking
it stops people
blocking
just-
systems.
Yeah.
And you can only do one of these at a time.
Yep.
So we want to give people the opportunity to do this, but not to start blocking other
Yeah.
people from playing the game. As part of that process, you will be able to select your primary starport. They will all be spaceports of some
Yep.
type for the primary one, and the location will already be predetermined on the target system.
Yep.
A colonisation ship will arrive. I'm sure we've got some pretty cool footage of
This will be playing now on screen. This is a big ship.
This is huge. This
Yeah.
is probably one of the largest vessels we've got in the game.
Yeah.
It's very, very big. It has
Yeah.
a lot of very, very large landing pads.
And why would you need large landing pads, Piers?
It has one very specific function, which
Yeah.
is to receive goods from ships.
Yeah.
So the construction effort for each of the stations will have a different construction. It's a shopping list, if you
Yeah.
want.
With materials that you need, right?
Of materials, and the materials will vary depending on what you're building.
Yeah.
But obviously, bulk construction materials are going to be the largest
Give me a
amount.
bit of metal.
And
Give me
then
a bit of- yeah.
whether you need computers or whether you need Levy and Brandy or whatever it is, that comes afterwards. If you're
You know what
building,
station I'm building.
I know exactly where you're going. So the list appears, the construction ship arrives, and you and any other player can deliver goods to
yeah.
that colonisation ship. And when the list is complete, it will be deployed. The new port will be deployed. This initially for the spaceports, they will be in an under construction phase. They will be there. They will look like an airport terminal that's not quite finished. So not all the people will be in place. Some of the facilities will be turned off. It will not be fully in orbit and it will not be spinning. So there is a reduced functionality set there. And then on the Thursday, it will spin up and be deployed into orbit.
Nice. Cool. So now you've got your starport. Colonisation ship, what is that? That goes away now?
So that will disappear after a period of time. It'll be there for a while, but it doesn't really serve any purpose, but it'll be in the scene at the same point as the space station.
So now I have my starport. What are my choices now that I've got a starport? Can I colonise the system? Can I move on from the system? What's the options?
So two things that will happen once the primary starport goes down, and you must complete this within a period of time as well.
Ah, yes, that's important, right? Yeah. So
And the primary starport is a special case. There's a time limit on that, again, to stop the process becoming blocked. So you have to complete it within a period of time. It has an inherent cost, and it also will have some infrastructure cost for what comes afterwards. So the primary one costs you a bit more in terms of effort. Once it's complete, though, two things happen. The colonisation beacon becomes a proper nav beacon. So that's the kind of the law step of why these systems have nav beacons in. And more importantly, I guess from a colonisation point of view, the new contact will appear on that space station.
Now we can do, if we want to go move on beyond that 10 light years or so,
Absolutely.
we're working on.
So this allows you to jump into the next system if you want, or daisy chain, as you say, build roads out into the black. And that is the point why we have to say you must complete these things before moving on.
I think it's good to point out that the primary starport or colonisation in itself is a big undertaking. If you're doing this as a single player, as a group, this is no mean feat, right? I mean, I know we've had fleet carriers in the past, we can accumulate credits, but this is actually you have to play the game, you have to deliver the resources, you have to build this starport, and then if you want to move on, you can do. And I know people have really sort of mentioned about doing sort of daisy chaining right the way out, and that's great, but that is to be really difficult because you will have to get the resources all the way out. And if you're not colonising systems before then, it's going to be hard to get that resource and then bring it out, right? Yeah,
and I mean, so you're right. There's a lot of effort involved in this, and the resource chain is a really interesting part of this whole puzzle. In terms of the effort it takes, that's something we're going to have to do in balancing. So we're going to be working when we deploy this. We'll go out and we will have to spend some time getting it balanced.
I think now's a fair way to announce it. I think what we're going to be doing with System Colonisation is we're going to be launching into beta. Beta. I'm not sure how you say that. I'm going to say beta. Whatever. Tomato. And we'll be doing it early next year. Now I know we wanted to do this year. But I think when we looked at doing PowerPlay 2.0 and we looked at it's a galaxy-wide mechanic. And there's a lot to tweak, and we're still just adjusting some levers on PowerPlay 2.0, and we want to get it as right as possible when we pop it in. But there is going to be a degree of we won't know until we know of it going out, and so we're going to pop it out. It'll be in beta, but it'll be functional. You'll be able to play it, and there'll be some adjustments we'll be making whilst we gather the data of what players are doing.
Yeah.
And again, whilst we did want it this year, and I did say it will be coming this year, so that's on me, but it will be coming early next year. So we will have it in for you. So you haven't got very long to wait, and we have something in between there and then, anyways, with the Cobra Mark 5 for you to play around with. So you'll be busy. So we've got the system, and the primary starport was in place. If I don't want to move on, say I found the system that I want, and I've got to that system, what can I do when I'm in that system now?
So as the person that's deployed the primary starport, you are now effectively the system architect.
Right.
This gives you some level of control of the development that can occur in that system. And I think you'll be, the nature of what you do in these systems will depend on the actual system itself. So you can scan these things in advance and find out how many available slots for additional development there are. And so, you know, some systems are probably going to be looking like they're worth more than others, based on the availability of what you can do afterwards.
And that will link into Power Play, I'm assuming. So if
all of this is completely seamless with Power Play. So when at the moment the primary starport goes down, you have the basis of a population there, but the system is not controlled by Power. So it is subject to Power Play rules. However, the faction that you bought the claim from will be brought over. So in terms of the BGS, you can bring your factions into the new system.
Okay, very interesting for players.
Absolutely. So to answer the rest of the question though, in what can I now do with my new system? So we give you a certain number of actions you can deploy in terms of construction sites, and we give you some locations. Now, the way this happens is a little bit different if the facility is in space to if it's on a planet. Let's do a space first. If I go to the system map, I will be able to see all the potential locations for deploying a space facility. That could be another port or any of the facilities that we brought online during Horizons. And you can select those locations and choose something that's appropriate to be deployed there. That will then summon a construction site, and I think we'll be able to show some of those space construction sites. And again, the process of delivering goods to
begins.
That again, it just repeats itself. So you can deliver goods, and once they're finished, that new facility will be deployed. The facilities come in a variety of tiers. So obviously, if you want one of the really big spaceports in a Celos or something like that, that's going to take a lot of effort. But it also means you need a little bit of supporting economy. So some of the smaller facilities you need to build to unlock the mid-tier ones. You need to build a certain number of mid-tier to unlock the really large-scale ones. This happens on both space and on the planet surface. So these things are interchangeable. When we go down to the planet surface,
I was waiting for this.
It's a little bit different. So this is pretty cool, actually. You're going to actually pick the location that you want your surface facility to be, whether that's an Odyssey facility or a full planet port or any of the Horizon facilities. You will be able to fly around, locate where you want it to be.
I think we've got some work in progress footage of this as well.
We do, and it's super cool. Pick the location, change the orientation, and then that will become where it's deployed. Again, we put a ground-based construction site there. Again,
I'm not going to say it. I'm sure if Alec Turner's watching, you can have a look at this, Alec. Tell me what you think of it. But
all the ground. So we build a ground-based construction facility. Again, people deliver goods there, and that once it's complete, the surface facility appears. Now, all of these things are interlinked in terms of the system economy. So if you're building mining facilities, then the local economy will become a mining economy. Same with agriculture, everything else. Some of the facilities you can put down, maybe adding buffs in terms of population, or they might be reducing your system security level if you're trying to build an anarchy system. So all of these things have an interconnection. The more of an economy you put down, the stronger the economic drive will be. Ports bring in population. Population generates more economic drive. So the more you build, and the more you focus on what you want to build, the more direct you'll get to the economies you need. Now, why is that important? It could just be important because you want to build your system out and you like it, and you actually want Arf's bar to be sitting somewhere.
Would you stop saying bars and Lavian brandy? Well, it's accurate, but you know.
I know you well enough. I know you're going to build that holiday resort with a bar in it somewhere. You might want to just build this out and invite people there. But equally, if you're into more long-range colonisation, you don't want to be coming back to the bubble every time to actually pick these goods up. You're going to want to be coming to, you know, maybe little bubble areas that have been built out that have fully functioning economies. And that's why you do.
That's what I'm excited for, because that's why I think the galaxy is going to change. I think I think what we're going to see. I think we're going to see certain factions will push the bubble naturally outwards, but I do think we're going to see player-led groups. And you're going to get these daisy chains with like mini bubbles, industrial bubbles, where they're like feeding backwards and forwards, and we're going to see these tendrils just reach out into the deepest parts. That's what I'm most excited for, just to see players how far they're going to go with this. I also want to see, because I know there'll be a player who wants to do it on their own. It's going to go all the way out as far as they can. But yeah, this is super, super exciting stuff. And the placement of the ground facilities. When I saw this, because when we obviously I'm very lucky to see some of the stuff sort of way ahead of time. When you said, oh, you can just pop it down where you want, I was like, what? So you can find that incredible vista. You can get your I don't know your tourist settlement if you want to, and you can just spin it around, put it like on a crater's edge with that amazing sunset, and be like, bam, that is my facility. And that's there for everyone to, and it's yours. You are the system architect. This all belongs to you, and you can't lose it, right? So the powers might change, but it still belongs to the architect, right?
Yeah, the BGS or the powers may move over the top, but it belongs to the system architect in terms of that person has control over what can be deployed into the system.
Yeah.
But anyone can enter it.
All right. So I've obviously told you what I'm most excited for. What are you most excited for in system colonisation?
I'm waiting to see what our players do with colonisation in a way that we haven't predicted, because it's going to come.
Oh yeah. There's no way we know what we're going to do. We think we know, but we don't.
But that's kind of the point, really, isn't it? It's power play and colonisation. Here you go. Yeah. Do what you want with it, and we'll see what the outcome is. All
right. Well, we've gone through the process. I think players now understand it. We'll talk more about this in the. I don't know, because this has been the last. Yeah, we'll talk more about this before it launches. There will be some questions from players. I think we might actually be worthwhile opening up a forum thread somewhere to see if there's any questions players might want to ask, and we can maybe answer some.
Sure.
We are still working through some of this, though. As we mentioned, there's some stuff we're still working through. So please don't ask for specific numbers, because honestly, at the moment, we're still working through them. So we don't have them.
The numbers are very much in flux, and they will be over the next month. So.
Yeah. So Piers, look, it's been great having you on. This has been a fantastic year for Elite Dangerous. Super proud of what we've all achieved as a team. Really enjoyed watching players take part. I'm very much looking forward to 2025. I'm guessing you and the team are as well, right?
Absolutely. It's been a really, really good year for us. We've really enjoyed it, and we've really enjoyed watching the reactions of all the players to everything that we put out this year. So yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, look, don't leave us along next time. I'll grab you back for some more coffee and some more questions probably next year, Piers.
Thank you very much, Alan.
All right. See you in a bit.